Welcome to Life-Changing Challengers, the podcast where passion meets purpose. I'm Brad Minus, your host, guiding you through stories of transformation and triumph, from endurance feats to overcoming adversity. Our guests defy the limits and inspire action. Ready to ignite your desire and incinerate your barriers? Join us. Your journey to the extraordinary begins now. All right, and welcome back to Life-Changing Challengers. And I am very honored today to have Lucie Ptasnik on the show. How you doing, Lucie?
I am doing wonderful, excited and grateful to be here.
And I am super grateful to have you here. So Lucie's a national speaker, a coach, and a serial entrepreneur, which I'm super excited to hear a little bit more about that. So Lucie, can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up? What was the complement of your home, brothers and sisters, and what was your environment like growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to say that I was a little girl with a big dream. I grew up in just outside of Detroit, in like the suburbs of Detroit, and I always had this desire, this passion of horses. And like Napoleon Hill says, all achievement starts with a burning desire. And I can say with absolute certainty that from the time that I can remember, I've been absolutely obsessed with horses. Every single day, I would beg my dad, please buy me a horse. But I mean, it was very much so like middle-class family. My parents were blue-collar workers. My mom had 2 factory jobs. So the idea of horses was completely just out of the realm of possibilities. And so every day my dad would tell me like, I love you, sweetheart, but unfortunately our family doesn't have the means to buy horses. But I never gave up on that dream, to the point where I would pray at night. I would say like, dear God, please let me just dream that I'm riding a horse in my dreams. So that way it feels like it in real life, because, oh my gosh, Brad, I can't tell you how many times I left and I'd be swinging my right leg over to sit on the saddle in my dream. And then poof, I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, I was so close. So the day that I turned 16 was the day that I got my driver's license, and the same day that I created a Craigslist ad. And I said, I will ride your horse for free. And that essentially led to a bunch of yahoos calling me with their unbroke, green-broke horses that hadn't been ridden, touched, or handled in 5 to 10 years. And they're like, and I'm like this confident, cocky 16-year-old with a brand new driver's license. Like, yeah, I'll come out driving all over God's country. These was horses. Next thing you know, I'm getting bucked off, thrown off, flipped over on top of. I mean, you name it, I experienced it. But I never gave up. And every single time I got thrown off, I was just the happiest thing to crawl right back up in the saddle. Dude, it was very much so one of those failing forward moments. I am the rider I am today, not because I had any formal education or instruction, but it's because I failed so many times. And all these crazy horses showed me what I know today. And so if you ask any successful business owner, entrepreneur, they're going to tell you, no, I wasn't lucky. I just failed more times than the average Joe. And every single time you fail, you learn from your mistakes. No matter how many times life throws you a curveball, or how many times you eat dirt, or unexpected circumstances or obstacles are thrown your way, that relentless pursuit, that laser focus to stay just laser focused on your goal and not give up. So that was really what helped me get from where I am to where I am now.
Wow. I mean, that's an amazing story. And I salute your desire, like having that really big desire to do something. And my clients need that focus as well. But I do want to cut back just a little bit. One question for me is, did you have any brothers or sisters that shared this dream with you?
No, actually, funny story is I'm the only one in my family with this horse bug, if you will, because I do have a brother and a sister. But they're each, like my mom had a child every decade. So it's kind of crazy, but I'm the baby. So my mom had my sister when she was 15. And then my mom had my brother when she was 24. And then my mom had me when she was 34. So it's like my mom had a kid essentially almost every 10 years. And they have the same dad and I have a different dad. So technically they're like my half brother and sister.
Are you close with them at all?
I'm really close with my sister. She's absolutely wonderful. Me and my brother are not super close.
Well, he's 20 years older, so yeah, it makes sense.
Well, actually, my sister's the one who's 20 years older than my brother.
Oh, that's right.
10 years old. Yeah, but and the cool/crazy thing is that my mom was pregnant with me at the same time as my sister was pregnant with my niece, Ashley. So my mom was 34 pregnant with me. My sister was 19 pregnant with my niece, Ashley. So me and Ashley grew up like sisters/best friends. She was my niece, but we're like sisters.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Oh yeah, that's my niece. Oh, you two look like you're the same age. We are. That's hilarious.
5 weeks apart.
Let's fast forward back to you getting on these horses where you've never ridden before. And you're just like, I just want to be around them. I'm going to go and I'm going to exercise these horses for these people. Did you ever get seriously injured getting bucked off?
You know what is wild is that despite the fact that I have ridden thousands of horses at this point, probably because I was selling on average 250 horses a year for the last 15 years. So yeah, thousands of horses I've sat, and those are just the ones I've sold, not even including the ones that I've hopped on to see or broke or not. Thank you, Jesus. I've never been seriously injured. I believe that part of that is divine protection, and that when you follow your passion and pursue what you were meant to do in this life, there is some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it magic or blessing or divine protection, but I like to say that I have an army of angels that are always watching over and giving me guidance.
That is cannot be more true, because I have to tell you, so I grew up kind of around horses. I used to go to a summer camp. It was called White Pines Ranch. It was in Illinois. It was in northern Illinois. And that's what you were there at the camp to learn about horses and ritter drops. So we rode horses 3 times a day, and we learned how to groom them. We learned how to shoe them. We learned how to feed them. We mucked out their stalls. I think we paid them to be their labor. Either way. Right. But they were livery horses. They were trained to look at the tail in front of them. So most of the rides were very, they'd allow us to canter and we'd gallop a little bit here and there. But basically it was very tame because those horses were trained, except for the one ride we went through, and we went right through a hornet's nest. And 3 of the horses got stung. I was on one of them and cut my neck. I cut my neck. I flew off the horse. I got right back on it, but just like you did. But I ended up getting flown off the horse. I didn't get seriously injured. But here I was on a livery horse, and here you were with no experience whatsoever, jumping on these wild horses. Like you said, they were unbroken. So that is definitely divine intervention. Yes. So that is incredible. And obviously, I'm not even stating the part where it was that desire that you had to be around horses. So let's give a couple of vocabulary words. Is it just a horse broker?
Yeah, I would just say
horse trainer.
I could say just because I buy, train, and sell horses. And so that's what I went on to do. I sold horses all throughout high school, all throughout college. I graduated college, got scooped up into the corporate world. I did the corporate world for 3 years. I had the world's worst boss, the most negative, pessimistic. And then I ended up quitting my corporate job, which was hands down one of the scariest decisions I've ever made, to go ahead and follow my passion and pursue horses full time. But I can tell you that was hands down one of the most rewarding and gratifying decisions. And there has not been one day that I have regretted taking the leap of faith in myself and taking a chance on myself to leave the comfort and security of corporate America behind and going on to now I buy, train, and sell horses all over the country. And I accidentally opened up one of Michigan's largest public trail riding companies just because I love, trail riding is my favorite thing. And I wanted to just share it with the world. I wanted to share it with my friends and my family. And next thing you know, word of mouth spread. And here we are 7 years later, where we offer a whole array of different fun experiences. Like we have meditation rides, we have Dairy Queen rides where we take people to Dairy Queen on the horses to get ice cream. We ride to the Huron River. We do full moon rides. So we have a lot of fun, but everything that I've done has really unfolded very naturally and very organically. And again, I don't say that like, oh, look at me, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. Like, yes, I'm blessed, but it has absolutely nothing to do with luck. And it has everything to do with leaning in and just unshakable faith and really building that belief of yourself and knowing that you are worthy, you are capable. If I did it, that means that you can do it and that your audience can do it. I am a firm believer in lead and inspire by example. So if I can do it, then that's why I'm on a mission to positively impact and inspire millions of people around the world, teaching them. Like, I've been able to essentially create a whole toolbox of different strategies and techniques, essentially how to leverage the laws of the universe by explaining that we live in a vibrational universe and understanding quantum physics and allowing people to very intentionally create the life of their dreams. And so that's really where it landed me today, is now I'm excited to just teach people how to intentionally craft the life that they've always desired to have.
Okay, so you make up some great points, and I had this idea of going back again, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to keep rolling forward. How does quantum physics, something as scientific and has rules, how does that get you to, manifestation and using the energy to create what you want?
Oh, that's
science, and I'm going to use the slang. It's science and woo-woo.
Yeah.
How do those merge?
Yeah. That's why I love this so much, and I'm so excited about it, because I remember when I was 18, I saw the movie The Secret for the first time, and it talks about the law of attraction and, oh my gosh, you can do you have anything that you can think of? All you have to do is believe in it. And I'm like, wow, this is so exciting. This is so empowering. And I remember I'd be showing up to my corporate job where I had the most miserable boss, and I had to travel with this guy all over the country to different manufacturing plants. And I'm not kidding you, Brad. He would literally list off every single thing that could go wrong. And I'm like, Justin, my dear, it does not serve you to constantly focus on what you don't want, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And what you talk about and you think about, you bring about, you attract to you. So the fundamental idea of quantum physics is essentially that we live in a vibrational universe where all things move and all things vibrate. So the number one rule, or the number one law of the universe, is the law of vibration. All things move and all things vibrate. And if you think about it, what's everything made of? It's made of atoms. It's made of matter. These atoms are made of electrons, protons, neutrons, electrons that are spinning around. And depending on the speed or the frequency that electron is spinning around the atom is going to determine if it's a solid, gas, or liquid. And so when we take a step back and we start to think about this, it's like, okay, well, everything is made of these atoms. Everything is made of energy. That means we are energetic beings, which means that we are energetic. We interpret vibration. So all five of our senses, you think about our sound, or we think of our hearing, when we are interpreting a sound or a noise, we are interpreting the vibration or the frequency that of the air that's moving towards us. And the same thing is when we're looking at light, our eyes are interpreting the wavelengths of the light spectrum that our eyes are capable of capturing. Same thing with taste, touch, and smell, where they're all vibrations. And so therefore we are vibrational by nature. And when we start to understand that everything is vibration, then we start to understand that our ideas are nothing more. Our ideas, the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, all carry energy to them, a frequency to them. And the most important part of the key to all of this is understanding that like attracts like, and we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So where some people kind of go sideways on this whole law of attraction business is they think that all they have to do is make a list of everything that they want to create, and poof, it's going to just voila, flow into their experience. And as great as that is, you have to do the work, because you have to level up. You have to raise your vibration very intentionally. So that way you are a vibrational match of whatever it is, whatever desire you would like to attract, create, or experience. And so that's what I teach people, is how to very intentionally raise their vibration. And I know that might sound a little bit woo, but so we have a 16-week program that essentially allows people to rewire their subconscious mind, transform their identity, and start to take massive action towards their goals. And the first pillar is energy, and really understanding that energy is our highest form of currency, that energy is everything. Why is it important? You are where you are today based on every single decision that you've made up until this point. So therefore, we can confidently say decision shapes our destiny. Well, if we know that decision shapes our destiny, what influences every single decision that we make? It's our state of mind, our emotional state, the energy that we're choosing to show up in. And so that's why it's so important when I talk about accessing peak emotional states. So I ask people, when was the last time you were in a peak emotional state? When was the last time you felt so excited, so passionate, when you just felt unstoppable and on fire? You could hurl over any obstacle that's presented in your way. And that is a peak emotional state. And you are going to make drastically different decisions when you're operating in a peak emotional state versus if you're operating in a lower vibrational state, which are going to be things like anger or fear or lack or guilt. When you're operating in lower vibrational states, you're not going to take the same actions or make the same decisions as you would if you're at a higher vibrational state. So that's why it's so important to understand that when you're able to recognize and identify the energy that you're showing up in, and then you're able to shift that, you're able to change that, you're able to alter and elevate your state, you're essentially opening the door to a whole new, essentially a whole new reality of people, places, and things that are going to excite, satisfy, and delight you. And that's why I like to say we're only ever one decision away from a completely different life. And it's all about understanding physics and the energy that we're choosing to show up in. Life is 10% about what happens and 90% of how we respond.
That's powerful. So are you basically saying, so being at that higher energy level, and what you were saying was, so the first thing that popped into my mind was that you probably make all your decisions while you're riding a horse, because that's your passion. That's probably where you're have the most elevated frequency. Am I on the right track?
I would say, so there's a whole toolbox of different things that I like to empower people with that's going to essentially elevate their state, raise their vibration. And not everybody is going to have access to a horse and be able to do that. But one thing that I do, I'm a huge advocate of, and I highly recommend, is kickstarting every single day with a meditation. And so that's one of my non-negotiables. So especially if I need to make a big decision, like a really important decision, I will absolutely quiet my mind and just spend, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes in meditation, just to ground myself, just to center myself. Because the thing, average, we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those thoughts are all negative. So the beauty of meditation is it actually allows us to quiet our mind. And when we quiet our mind, we let go of all of the worry, all of the stress. We release all of the limiting beliefs, everything that's weighing us down. When we do that, our vibration is immediately going to rise. And when we do that, the other thing is we become aware of the thoughts that we're thinking. And the importance of the power of awareness is important, because if we want to change anything in our life, we have to become aware of the unconscious patterns that have been running our life this entire time. Awareness is what precedes all change. We can't change what we're unaware of. And the definition of meditation is to become aware of oneself. And so when you're in a quieted state where you're just focused on your breathing, eventually, people always say, Lucie, I tried to meditate. It's just not for me. I just can't do it. My mind won't stop racing. And I'm like, perfect. That means you're doing it right. You're not dead. Your mind's not just supposed to instantly turn off, but it's a practice. And so what happens is a thought will come in, and as you're breathing and you're focusing on your breath, a thought will come in, and it's in the recognition of that thought that you can be like, oh, hey, look, a thought's there. And then you can lovingly release it. And then 5, 10, 30 seconds later, another thought is bound to show up. And instead of falling down the rabbit hole of oh, I got to go to the doctor's appointment, and then I got to pick my kids up from school, and then I got to run to the grocery store, and I got to wait, stop. Oh, I'm thinking again. Oh, there's those thoughts. And then stop, lovingly release them, return back to your breath. And it's this practice of recognizing the thoughts that flow into your mind, and then begin to understand that we are not our thoughts. We are the observers of our thoughts. And then we can start to question every single thought that enters our mind. And we can ask ourselves, is this the thought that serves us? Or is this a belief that serves us? Because at the end of the day, a belief is nothing more than a thought that we keep thinking. And we can change our beliefs at any given time. But the problem with so many people is that so many people, instead of questioning or challenging the limiting beliefs that they have, these unconscious beliefs, they defend them and they fight for their limitations. The only limitations that we have are the limitations that we place on ourselves. And so therefore, if we begin to shift our paradigm, shift our thinking, and start to question what's really possible for ourselves, that's when we start to essentially transform our identity and start to really take massive action towards our goals.
Wow. That's something else. So I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people as far as meditation goes. I've gone down the path. I've read, numerous about Zen and Buddhist meditation, because I felt like, all right, well, if I'm going to learn it, I'm going to learn from the masters. I'm going to learn from the people who developed it and started it and got to nirvana, right? So, I'm one of those people. And I'm like, and they literally have a name for it called monkey mind, when you can't stop the thoughts that are going in. And so, and you seem like, you are such a positive, and you look you sound very type A, how long did it take you to get to that point when you started meditating to be able to quiet and then get to that point where you're able to feel like you've raised your frequency?
Gosh, it's been such a journey, Brad. I would say, so like I said, I was 18 when I saw The Secret. And then I graduated college at, I think, 21 or 22. Immediately got scooped up into the corporate world. While I was in the corporate world, it was like life in the cube, and I was doing these Excel spreadsheets, okay? Thousands and thousands of lines of Excel spreadsheet, okay? And the whole time, from sun up to sundown, I'm doing these typing in numbers in Excel. I had my headphones in, and I was listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer. And so I was taking notes at the same time. And I feel like his beautiful wisdom, I'm so blessed to have been exposed to him at such a young age. Through the work of Dr. Wayne Dyer, I ended up stumbling upon the teachings of Abraham Hicks. And then I went to my first Abraham Hicks workshop I don't remember, I was 22 or 24. I think I was 22. And that was the first time I started meditating. And that literally, because I was already implementing everything that she was teaching, in terms of she explains things in a very beautiful way about how we live in a vibrational universe, and basically the tips, the tricks, the hacks, and how to very intentionally create the life of your dreams. And a lot of her work is, I've compiled all the different teachings from Dr. Wayne Dyer to Tony Robbins to Ed Milet to all of these, all these people that I'm so obsessed with, and even Joe Dispenza, who I love. And so meditation for me has been there's so many different kinds of meditations, and that's the other thing. And so there's the guided meditations, there's the gratitude meditations, there's breath work, there's mantra meditations. And so what I do, I actually have inside of my phone, I have a whole catalog, if you will, of different meditations that I've basically collected over the years. It's an arsenal of different meditations. So every single morning when I wake up, I'll just open up my little meditations, my notes, and I'll pick whichever meditation I want to do. So whether I do, 3 or 4 10-minute meditations, or maybe I'll do a 60-minute Joe Dispenza meditation, or maybe I'll do a 30-minute Dr. Wayne Dyer meditation. They're all different kinds. And then I encourage everybody to just kind of try a little bit of kind of going to buffet and just trying a little bit and seeing what resonates the best with you. And because everyone is going to make you feel a little bit different. And sometimes, and the more you do it, the more you do it, it's almost like there's different experiences. Sometimes you'll just feel waves of energy flowing through you. Sometimes you feel like you're light, like you're floating. Dr. Joe Dispenza really talks about when you stepping into the unknown. And the reason why the unknown is so important and so powerful is because we come here and we think there's this idea of separateness, and we think that we're our own person, kind of cut off from everything else. And it's when you become no one in no time, nowhere and no thing, you become none of those things, and you let go of your identity of who you think you are, of your past, of all of your beliefs, and you just let it all go. And you just essentially step into what he calls the unknown. You step into the unified field. And when he explains that, when you become no one, nowhere, and no time and no thing, you become everyone and every time and everything. And that means like you're like connecting to all that is. And so it's all exciting. And it's, like I said, it's all a unique experience. But essentially what I've discovered is that there have been a handful of days where my alarm doesn't go off and I wake up late and I'm like, oh no, I gotta like throw some clothes on and run out the door. I don't have time to meditate. Those are the days when you make sure you meditate.
Right.
And my fair share of times where I'm like, nope, don't have time for that. And I'll run out the door. And I'm not even kidding you, Brad. Like, and it's just like when you're so accustomed to meditating every single day, what you're doing when you're meditating is you're raising your vibration. When you raise your vibration, you're setting yourself up for success, because like I said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when you're vibrating at a super high level, you can only experience people, places, and things that are going to satisfy and excite you. And therefore, angry people, frustrated people, bad news, traffic jams, things that are going to upset you, or whatever, things that are like bad news from your boss, whatever it is, those things simply can't touch you. They can't find you. And even if they do, they're not going to have the same effect. They're not going to rock you. They're not going to shake you. You're going to be like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm not going to allow an outside or external circumstance affect how I'm feeling internally, because I feel so good right now. I'm not going to allow something else to lower my vibe and bring me down. And so that's why when you do this practice every single day, you're setting yourself up for success. So the one day that you forget to do it, it's like you're living in a totally different world, because when you meditate, you're essentially granting yourself access to higher vibrational playing fields. And so when you don't meditate, which I've learned the hard way, it's like all of a sudden you're in a traffic jam. All of a sudden you get a call with bad news. All of a sudden, like you're going to an appointment and you forgot your laptop, and now you have to drive all the way back home and get your laptop, or whatever it could be. And so now you never miss a meditation. Whatever you do, even if you're going to be late, it's okay. You roll on divine timing. I like to say that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right here, right now, and all the cooperative components of the universe are collaborating on my behalf.
I need to step back just for a second, because you had said that you are not what you do, you are what you are. Or you said, what was that saying? That the energy.
You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are.
Okay. You don't attract what you want, but you attract what you are. So, okay. So let's say that, okay. So, all right. Let's say I have a couple people that, that are looking to qualify for the Boston Marathon, right? Let's say I've got a couple I've got clients that always, myself as well. So instead of saying, so you've got to have this belief pattern that basically says, it's not that I'm qualifying for I'm not looking to qualify for the Boston Marathon. I'm a Boston marathoner.
Exactly. Embodying the energy of the person you want to become, embodying that energy now, or the thing that you want to attract. So if you want more love, you have to be more loving. If you want more money, you have to embody the energy of abundance. And therefore you have to become more generous, because what does a wealthy person do? Pours out money. And so therefore, whatever it is that you want to, like, when you pour out gratitude, the universe listens. God hears that, and therefore he's going to give you more things to be grateful for. It's like whenever you give a gift if you give a gift to two of your friends, and one of the friends is like, oh, cool, thanks. The other person's like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever received. Thank you so much. Who are you going to be more inclined to give the gift to? Obviously, the person that was more grateful. So it's just like whenever you want to, whatever goal it is that you're setting, like one of my students, actually, this is a super cool story. It just happened last week. Every night I send my gratitudes out. Like that's one of my practices that I've been doing for the last 8 years. every single night, I type out everything that I'm grateful for each day. And then at the end, I type out tomorrow's forecast, which is essentially intention setting, where I'd like to, whatever it is that I'd like to invite or experience tomorrow, I'll go ahead and write that in. And so I send these out to a handful of people each night. And it really, again, it's reprogramming your subconscious mind, because we all have patterns. And one pattern's habit is patterns of focus. And a lot of people are conditioned to focus on what doesn't serve them. They're conditioned to complain. They're conditioned, or they're just so set in their ways of always finding out what's wrong. And when you flip that and you when you change your perspective, just like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so my nightly gratitudes is a process that I've been doing for a long time and has really just set me up for success. That way I'm always like, oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful for like an incredible, like I was just telling my boyfriend, I'm like, oh my God, I just crushed cardio. I'm so grateful for cardio. Oh my God, I'm so grateful for that hot shower. It was so delicious. Oh my God, I'm so like, just anyways, I'm like obnoxious with the gratefulness. I send one of my students my gratitude list, and she sends me hers back. And she's like, Lucie, she's like, I've been praying, I've been meditating, and I feel like my energy is just not where it needs to be. She's in real estate. She's like, I've been working with this seller for 6 months, trying to close on this house. And I just don't know if it's going to happen. And I'm on the struggle bus right now. And I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like you just need to, I'm like, you've been praying and meditating. And she's like, yeah, I've been meditating every day. I'm like, okay, good. I'm like, it sounds like we just need to shift your energy around that. So when you think about this thing, instead of like getting that like knot in your stomach and having that like sense of like anxiety or fear that you're going to lose the deal, I really want you to like just close your eyes and imagine how good it's going to feel when you're signing the paperwork and the contract's closed and you have it under contract. And I'm like, just think about the idea of how good it's going to feel and celebrating that. And like when you embody the energy of the desire fulfilled, you're going to fast track the manifestation of it. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you doing any affirmations? And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, okay, well, instead of just giving her all the answers, I wanted her to do some of the work so that way I could see like where her thinking was at. So I'm like, okay, go ahead and write out some affirmations and send them to me and I'll add to them. She sends me her affirmations, and her affirmations were like, I'm so excited or she said something like, I know I'm going to close on this deal soon. And a couple of other affirmations. And I'm just like, no, don't worry. I'm going to close on this deal soon. Soon is never going to come. Say, I am so happy and grateful that we effortlessly closed on this deal. I'm so grateful that we had a delightful day at the title company, and that me and Richie, her husband, were able to celebrate by going out to lunch at his favorite restaurant and really just talking about things in present tense. Like, I am so grateful that I'm an incredible wholesaler and that I radiate confidence and expertise every time I talk to a seller, and that every single seller deals effortlessly flow to me, and that I close deals within days within meeting sellers, and I bring incredible value to the marketplace. And anyways, I just went through a whole thing with her. And anyways, she texted me 6 days later. It was just on Thursday that she texted me, and she's like, oh my gosh, Lucie. She's like, I got this. She's like, I've been reading your affirmations out loud every single day, and I got the deal under contract. And she was like just elated and so excited. So that's really what's so exciting for me, is that I get to share and everybody's wins along the way. And then like when you start understanding that reality is very malleable and it's whatever we want, however we want to shape it and create it, it's very suggestible. That's like life becomes really fun, and it doesn't have to be so heavy or so difficult. When the experience are the ones that we fight for, the ones that we place on ourselves. Well, then it's just like, let's use our imagination in fun, audacious ways to dream up all of the exciting, delicious possibilities that we can think of. So yeah.
The energy level you have is like ridiculous. Hoping that everybody's listening that is, they're catching on some of these words. I mean, she's used deliciousness like 17 times already, and it comes out of her mouth and it just kind of flows. It's beautiful. All right. So as we wrap up, I'd like to, if you can help us and give us a 30,000 foot view of what you would do, the coach, top level for somebody that has maybe, looking to make a change in their career. That's pretty new. They're at a dead end job. They want to make more money. They want to get out of it, but they have no idea how. So can you at the 30,000 foot level give us like the first 5 things that you would coach this person to do? And you could like what I don't want you to go, oh, I want you to do this meditation. No.
Yeah.
One is meditation, right? Learn to meditate.
Yeah.
Second is, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that I'd want to do with somebody who is feeling stuck is have the conversation and figure out where they're at and kind of get a feel for what their story is. Because when you talk to people, as soon as you listen to them, you start to understand we have patterns of focus, patterns of language, and patterns of physiology, and especially how we're moving our body. And when you listen to the language people use, it gives you an insider look on their map of the world and how they view things and what they believe is true for them. Because again, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're right. So whether you believe that money is easy to make or money's hard to make, either way, you're right. So I would really just have a first conversation with them, find out like where they're at in life, because that's going to give me a good idea of their belief system and then their narrative, as well as the limiting beliefs that they carry. Then the next thing, and that's also going to obviously give me a good insider look on their energy level, because again, energy is everything. Next thing is going to be a vision. And the reason why a vision is so important is because we have absolute clarity on exactly what it is that we want to create or experience in our life. Just like if we get in a car without a map and we don't really know where, we're going to take a much longer time to get from point A to point B. We're going to make a lot of wrong turns and probably get turned around a couple times. Whereas if you just look at a clear map, then we can go ahead and map that out with intention and clarity. And not only that, but we talk about imagination and intention setting. And so the idea of a vision is so important, because once you have that mapped out, then you're able to read it every single day or even once a week, honestly. But when you're in repetition of reading it and having those ideas and thoughts at the forefront of your mind, what you're doing is you're activating your RAS. Your RAS is your reticular activating system. And if I ask you, how many red cars did you see on your drive home today? You're going to be like, I don't know, I wasn't looking for them. But if I ask you tomorrow, you'd be like, oh, I saw 26 red cars because I was looking for them and I counted them. Well, same thing. If you're reading your vision on a consistent basis, that means you're embedding these ideas into your subconscious mind. You're stepping into the receiving mode. And then when the opportunity presents itself to you, you'll actually be able to see it. You'll be able to take action and move forward with it. So having a vision and knowing exactly what it is that you want is so important, because in today's day and age, like with the news and anxiety, they condition us to focus on what we don't want. So many people are focused on like, well, I don't want this and I don't want this and I don't want this. And I'm like, no, don't focus on what you don't want. Tell me exactly, if you had unlimited resources and money was of no concern, what would your life look like? And then we get to the exciting imagination piece. Then after we go in desire, then the next piece is belief. And that I step into the rewiring the subconscious mind and transforming their identity, because you are where you are today based on every single thought, decision, action you've made up until this point. Therefore, if you want a new reality, if you want a brighter future, if you want a 6-pack abs or to become a Boston Marathon rock star, whatever it is that you want, you're not there yet. That means that there's a vibrational discrepancy between where you're at and where you want to be. Well, what bridges that gap? Belief is what bridges the gap between where you're at and where you want to be. No matter, even if with absolute clarity what you want, if you don't believe that you're worth it, if you don't believe that you're capable or that you're worthy, the thing that you most long for is always going to be just out of reach. And so therefore, that's why it's so important to understand the power of the mind and transforming your identity. Because when you start to say things like, for example, when I did my first bikini competition, I didn't really believe that I could step on stage as a bikini competitor until I embodied belief in the energy of a bikini competitor, that I start to saw like all of the weight just fall off and just miraculous things happen. But you have to really it's all about transforming your identity. I read this thing. It's like you have to give yourself like the moth to the flame of your desires, and therefore let go of who you are and whatever old habits you have, whatever limiting beliefs you have, essentially who you are, give it all up and think about, what does the highest version of myself look like? What does the best version of myself look like? What do they talk like? How do they dress? What is the energy they carry themselves with? What are the habits they have? And most importantly, what are the beliefs that they hold about life that I need to embody? Because once I start acting like that version of myself, I'll become that version of myself. But you have to let go of who you are. And that's the hard part, is because it's death of the ego. How long have you been you for? Many years. And it served you very well to be you. But anytime that we step outside of our comfort zone, it's hard and it's difficult, it's challenging. But as we know, we're either growing or dying. And growth only takes place outside of our comfort zones. That's why it's so important. And I like to challenge all of my students every single day. How can you grow? How can you get uncomfortable? What can you do differently to show up better for yourself, for your family, for your community? So that way you can become the best version of yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually. Because when we're the best versions of ourselves, that's when we're able to positively impact the world around us. So that's kind of the map that I would take people through, is understanding their energy, getting so clear on their desire, and then working through their belief system to rewire the subconscious mind. So that way they're starting to take actionable steps toward their goals.
Wow. All right. Well, you heard it here. Lucie has just literally laid it out for you on what you need to do as far as finding your dream, crushing your dreams, basically, and becoming the person that you want to be. So definitely take some of those steps. And if you want, you can go to ultimatesuccessblueprint.com and check out Lucie's. She's got numerous programs on there. And you've got also one that is, I think, a free one.
Yeah. So what we've done actually is we have our 16-week program, like I mentioned before. And what we've done is we've condensed it into a very digestible 6-part series. That's probably like 2 hours total. And normally it retails for $1,000, but we have a special promo code for you and your audience.
Oh,
so yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah. So the promo code is Challengers for this podcast, is Life-Changing Challengers. So if you go to ultimatesuccessblueprint.com, the promo code is Challengers. And then you guys are able to download this free training on how to very intentionally reprogram your subconscious mind, transform your identity, and start taking massive action towards your goals.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is fantastic. And so we're going to link that in the show notes. And you've also heard it. Remember, https://ultimatesuccessblueprint/challengers, or just go to there and then it's a promo code.
It's just a promo code. So just ultimatesuccessblueprint.com. And then you just click on the download training, and then it'll prompt you for the promo code. And then you just type in Challengers.
Perfect. And is your website the best place if people have questions, or do you have
We actually have this really cool community Facebook group that we recently put together that I'm like super excited about. If people want to find me on social media, they can find me on Instagram at Coach Lucie Lynn, LucieLynn, or at Facebook, Lucie's Bubble, LucieIES Bubble, because you have to fiercely protect your bubble. And this accountability, or this group that we've put together, is a community called Transformation Nation. And every single day we're pouring out content on how to become the best version of yourself. And even more exciting than that is every single Friday at 10:30 Eastern. So Friday morning at 10:30, I lead a live meditation, because like I said, if there's one thing that I recommend everybody start doing immediately that I know is going to bring them incredible success and up-level every area of your life, it's really blessing yourself or gifting yourself 10 minutes every single morning for a meditation. So that's what I'm here to serve and positively impact as many people as possible. So every Friday at 10:30 inside of Transformation Nation, I lead a live gratitude meditation for about 15 minutes. So if any of your listeners would like to, whether they're seasoned meditators or they're just trying to figure this out and they just want to help kickstarting their journey, I'm here to help.
Oh, wow. That's generous. That's super generous. And we really appreciate it. And I am so stoked. I mean, you cannot listen to this woman and not get just hyped up. I mean, it's 9 p.m. and I don't know if I'm going to get to sleep for another hour because, I still got to get up at 4 to train. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Because I am like so psyched. Anyway, Lucie, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have all of this linked in the show notes. So you got to go look at the show notes and you'll find those wherever you get your podcasts. Well, you're listening to this, so obviously you already know where it is. So take a look at the show notes, click on those links. Don't forget to, share to anybody else that you know that Lucie can help and have this information can help out. So again, Lucie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. An amazing journey.
Thank you so much, Brad.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we will go ahead and see you in the next. Thank you. Well, that wraps up another episode of Life-Changing Challengers. I'm your host, Brad Minus, saying thank you for joining us on this journey of transformation. If today's stories inspired you, please take a moment to review, share, and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us reach more listeners and create an even bigger impact. Remember, every challenge is a chance to grow. Until next time, keep pushing, keep challenging, and never stop pursuing your extraordinary.